Hey, and welcome to the video. I just wanted to make a little video here um, based on what's going on with the PC market and everything. And for those of you that are looking to get into PC gaming in general, I don't know if you're just sick of consoles or you just want a PC. And, when I had my first PC, or my first real PC, or good PC, anyway, it was a shitty old Dell that I had gotten for free because one of my dad's clients um, ended up getting rid of theirs, and I ended up getting that one, and it had an integrated GPU. I think it was like a dual core with like 4 GB of RAM, and I had maybe like a 500 gigabyte like spinning hard drive. So on Windows XP, and then I upgraded it to Windows 7, and it definitely wasn't amazing, but hey, I mean, I got off school and came home and, gamed on it and, did things that teenagers do. I'm sure we all know what those are. Um, so as we all know, the price of things are going up, and building a new upgraded PC is a lot more expensive than it used to be. Um, Not upgraded, but just uh, like a new PC in general. Like prices are just outrageous. I would not buy RAM at the current cost. Uh, that just it's just outrageous. It's like just no, no, just no. I don't really have anything better to say than no. Just like no, dude, no. Like that's bullshit and everyone knows it, and but I'm just sitting here, and a very good way to build a newer PC or a decent PC um, would be the AliExpress route here. Um, you can get uh, it says X99, but it's really not X99. It's the C612 chipset, and it even has TPM 2.0 because this is a Chinese board and they can kind of just throw and put together whatever they want in it. I've certainly you could use Windows 11, but as a Linux user myself, there is absolutely no way that I would use Windows past this point. Windows 7 was peak Windows, and after Windows 8 came along, I saw the writing on the wall. A lot of people are switching to Linux now, or they're giving it a shot at the very least. And to tell you the truth, it's pretty well warranted, and it's only going to get worse. Microsoft is they just don't care about you anymore. They don't care about the computers. Like they don't it's spyware. It's basically just malware at this point. And I'd for the exception of professional video editors, people that require it for work, or people that just refuse to leave the ecosystem because of, Photoshop or um, stuff like that. I just can't see really why anyone uses it. And Mac OS, while it's fine, um, they're not really any better because you're kind of stuck in this little tiny box where they can say, well, we want you to do this, and you know we're gonna give you these parts, and you can pay 200 extra dollars for 512 more gigabytes of storage, or extra RAM that's soldered to the motherboard where you can't even upgrade it. So that right there on its own, just no, no way. It's a joke, and but people like what they like, and people can do whatever they want. It's their money. But I'm just saying, that's just me, and I'm sure a lot of people vibe with that. Um, Now, this here is a pretty good motherboard CPU combo. Um, I'm not surprised that the RAM here is blacked out as it should be, because 163 for that, and the RAM, and it's only, I think it's what, 16 gigabytes, is a joke anyway. Now, I have used this. I have this same exact board, like literally right here. I have it, and I'm building it for like a spare project PC, and I have 32 gigabytes of ECC RAM there. And you can actually still find it relatively cheap. These coolers here, um, they don't really cost a whole lot. You can get them for like 10 bucks. And even under Linux, um, it really doesn't get more than 45C. Even with this tiny little rinky dink cooler, it's still nothing. And personally, I really like this. I think this is a good little starter PC or extra PC if you want to do that. Or, some people don't want to go with an older chipset because, oh, it's a dead platform. Oh, there's no upgrade path. Well, to tell you the truth, there's not really an upgrade path anyway, as long as RAM is concerned. And it's not just RAM, it's also just storage or anything that uses memory in general. Uh, SSDs, phones, really just anything. Consoles, it's ridiculous. So, this board here gives you a lot of decent specs. You get, you know, USB 3, okay-ish audio, NVMe support, like plenty of SATA, you know, all of that stuff. Now, these boards aren't the best boards, but to tell you the truth, it's better than just throwing a bunch of server CPUs into the landfill. I'm pretty sure we can all agree on that, or at least somewhat agree on it. And to tell you the truth, I've tested it. I've used it under Linux. Um, Now, personally, I have used a lot of. You'll see a lot of builds like on YouTube um, using this chipset and processor ish. You know, that use like the RX 580. And personally, it was an alright card back in the day, but in today's day and age, that card really doesn't have any power anymore. I personally wouldn't use it. I think the 5700 XT is going to be a pretty good card, and that's actually the card that I chose. I went with the FXF XFX version, and it's not in the literal best of shape, but I paid $100 for it, and you can get these cards. I don't want to say all day, but pretty much all day for like $100-ish. And they say, oh, 8 gigabytes of RAM, like, that's not going to get you anywhere in today's, you know, landscape with games and everything. But I mean, I hate to say it, but while that is somewhat true, because as you move forward, more and more games are using more and more VRAM. But under Linux, Linux is far more efficient when it comes to RAM, even when it comes to VRAM. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that, Linux is going to save the day for 8 gigabyte GPUs, but if you go down that path, and if you choose to do that, 8 gigabytes of VRAM on Linux will be perfectly fine in most titles. I've tested um, Cyberpunk. I've tested other games, and I'm also going to be doing a video of me putting this PC together, and I will actually throw some video game, not benchmarks, but just in general um, gameplay footage, just so that you can get a idea of how this system will perform. And I highly suggest Linux. I've personally have been using Linux for over 10 years, and when I first started using Linux, it had almost no games available for it. Like it was the Valve catalog and maybe like one or two others, like like Tux Cart and stuff like that. But over the years, I have absolutely seen the Linux gaming scene has just absolutely exploded. I remember when Proton was first released, and there was 25 games, and now it's thousands and thousands and thousands of games. Like, and I use Linux Mint. You don't have to use Linux Mint. A lot of people seem to like CachyOS. Um, and I'm one of those people that went straight to Ubuntu or Ubuntu, whatever you want to call it. I took one look at the Unity desktop and I said, ew, this is disgusting. I don't like GNOME personally. Some people do, but I don't really care for the whole Mac-ish aesthetic. I personally think it's dog shit. But once again, this is Linux. You can do whatever you want. If you like it, cool, awesome. That's what free and open source software is all about. You can do literally whatever you want. You can change out the desktop environment. You can move from Wayland to X11, um, but that's really another discussion for another day. But yeah, this is all really cool and nice stuff. And as you can see, this stuff here is not horribly expensive. You can get deals on it. And you can build this PC that I'm building for about 300. Well, you can go as low as 250, but I wouldn't really go below maybe 300 at the lowest. Um, and this build doesn't really work for everybody. Some people are not really gonna like the X99 platform or C612. If you want to really like get into the weeds, but whatever. It's I'm sure that you can find deals in your area because the used market is different for everybody, and in every specific area it will be different. The deals that I find in my area may not apply to you in your area, but this can be bought. I don't want to say it like worldwide, but most people will be able to just buy this and order it and have it shipped to them. And a lot of people really like that. They don't want to like go deals hunting and blah blah blah, but if you want to get things as cheap as possible, unfortunately you're kind of going to have to do that. Now this is like the motherboard here, you know, when you buy it, the CPU comes pre-installed and it comes shipped to you, and they don't really include anything in the box. And no, you're not going to get any BIOS updates, but I mean, come on. Like, what do you expect? X99 stuff is basically dead anyway. Um, but if at least if you buy it this way, you'll get a somewhat decent board. Now, I would not go for the other boards. You're going to want one of these boards here with the VRM heatsink with the little fan in it, because the VRMs in these boards are not great. Like, they're not amazing. They're not built for, you know, uh, really high end computing, as it were. Like, they put whatever they can and they slap it together on these boards, and then they ship it off. That's really the only thing they're trying to do here. But to tell you the truth, I don't really think this is a bad board. It's not amazing, it's not great, but for the price here, you know it's really not hard to beat, especially when you can just go online and buy it and just have it shipped to your door. You're not going to get it in 2 or 3 days because that's not really exactly how AliExpress works, but you'll get it and it'll work. Um, so, you have all different kinds of versions of this board available. Like I said, don't go for the fanless models because the VRMs are going to get very hot. And there's been testing done, especially by Tech Yes City, has a very in-depth video about these boards and the VRM cooling and everything like that. And quite frankly, he loves these old Xeons, and quite I love them too. I didn't really think that they were all that great until I actually bought one and tried it, and they're actually not bad. They're a lot better than people make them off to be. Now, as far as RAM goes, you can use ECC RAM, and it has gotten more expensive. Now, I bought this RAM here for basically like $1 a gigabyte, and it's nothing special. It's just regular old like RAM, as it were. And to tell you the truth, it works perfectly fine. And because under Linux, the RAM management is far better. 32 gigabytes of RAM is really nothing, but if you want to go with 16 um, for a Linux gaming PC, that'll be way more than enough. I would still go 32 just because. And you can still find decent prices on these. Now, like I said, they have gotten more expensive, and you don't have to go with old ECC server RAM. I'm pretty sure you can find decent deals on DDR4, like, Facebook Marketplace or whatever. And that's one of the things with going with these old Xeons is that it gives you the option of going from ECC or non-ECC. Whatever the best deal that you can find for RAM is honestly what you're going to want to do in this market. When the market changes, you either don't do it or you adapt. And that's not really just the market, that's just life in general. Um, and you can find 5700 XTs if you want. You can use a different card, all kinds of stuff like that. But here's an example. I'm pretty sure that by the end of this little bidding war here it will become a bidding war towards the end. I mean, that's just kind of how eBay is. But you can use Facebook Marketplace, Mercari, eBay, really just whatever you want. But if you want, you can go with a different card. But personally, I think that the 5700 XT is a perfectly fine card. I have had 3 AMD cards, and AMD cards under Linux work fantastic. You plug them in and they work, and you're off to the races. I mean, you should do a little bit more than that. I know a lot of people are afraid of the terminal, but the terminal is really not that difficult to use. If you use it sparingly, just if you go on to like websites and stuff like that, make sure that you understand the terminal commands before you just blindly put them into your system, because people, can really just post whatever they want. Linux gives you, the user, full power of the system, and you can literally destroy your PC with a few basic, with one easy command. The rm rf no preserve root, and your system's just done. If you see a command like that and you're newer to Linux, don't put it into your system. It's a joke, you know, or they're trolling, just trying to get new users to put it into their system, and then you'll literally just watch your PC like destroy itself. So, don't do that. Never do that. Um, I have other videos planned in the line. I work in delivery, and the Christmas season has just been absolutely destroying us. Been working like 60 hours a week, and between that and doing other stuff, I know other people work more hours at 2 and 3 jobs, and everybody's life is different. But this isn't really like a job for me. It's just like a hobby. But I'll have different video ideas coming down the line. Like I said, I'm gonna build this PC here, um, and I can't really say it's gonna be all that great because I don't really have the best filming equipment. But hey, I'm sure somebody would love to see it. And I'm also gonna have different gameplay footage from here. Like I have several different games that I like to play, like um, The Isle, Daisy, Arc Raiders, the whole gambit, those online games, and there's some offline games that I like to play as well. And, some people like to watch it, some people don't. Everybody likes to do their own thing. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate you listening to me, like, with my little ums and uhs and my little bullshit rant here, because at the end of the day, nobody cares. Like, nobody cares. But, if you found the video helpful or if it gave you an idea, hit the like or subscribe button if you want to see more content. And anyway, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.